Hey guys, what's up? Today I'll be commenting Russell Brand's video. Russell Brand has his own view on space travel by private companies, which I don't really agree with. And I was thinking, should I make this video? Because I really respect Russell, and I don't think he's far off here. There's certainly a debate to be held on this topic. And I must say I enjoy Russell's videos. He's a very intelligent, well-spoken and kind person. And I was also inspired by his latest series on Great Reset to make my own video on this subject. But on the subject of space exploration, I don't fully agree with his views, especially in comparing Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and their companies SpaceX and Blue Origin. Now, I'm not a fan of Jeff Bezos because there's a big difference between Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. There are a number of reasons to dislike Bezos, even though he's trying so hard lately to appeal to people and fix his public image. Well, how about he starts with more humane conditions at Amazon warehouses? Do you know what this counter indicates? It shows how much time you have to pack each bag. That's crazy. Okay, let's move on to commenting Russell's video.
Their power is growing in the pandemic. They own the present. Are they about to colonize even our future? Let's have a look.
The net worth of American billionaires has soared by $1 trillion since March, according to a new report.
I believe so powerfully in the ability of entrepreneurial capitalism and free markets to solve so many of the world's problems. Not all of them.
It's going well so far.
Not all of them, but so many of them.
Of course, people talk about, progress. They'll point to medieval France or something and like someone coughing up a lump of plague in a public square. Of course, entrepreneurial capitalism has provided many things, but I think sometimes that we deify it because we don't look at the cost, because sometimes the costs are harder to evaluate. Billionaires have carbon footprints that are thousands of times higher than those of average Americans. They own yachts, planes, multiple mansions, all of which contribute greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. Here's an interesting quote from Evgeny Morozov, the author. He says, "Silicon Valley is a bizarre mix of greedy capitalists and cultural Marxists, keen on indoctrinating their users into left-wing ideas while getting filthy rich off everyone's data." And also, further to the start of this video, US billionaires' wealth has risen by over $1 trillion during the pandemic. A report by Oxfam concluded that Jeff Bezos' worth had climbed so much between March and September 2020 that he could have given all 876,000 Amazon employees a $105,000 bonus and still have been as wealthy as he was before the pandemic. That's mental.
It is mental. I agree, but there is one thing that people always forget, and a lot are not aware of that most of the wealth is due to an increase in stock market value. For this, you should blame US tax laws or Federal Reserve's monetary policies for letting this happen. Increase in stock market value is not taxable unless they sell. Some people want lower taxes and others want higher taxes. And agreeing on laws for taxes is very difficult. So the end result is beneficial for all and not being counterproductive. On the other hand, Jeff Bezos and other billionaires have a power of lobbying for the laws that are beneficial for them. So basically the problem is in the corrupt government officials.
So they own cyberspace, they own the land that we stand upon. Now, space itself, the final frontier, is about to become just another item in their portfolio.
It is potentially the next giant leap in private space travel. SpaceX has announced it's sending a Japanese billionaire up around the moon.
I hope they've told him first. We're sending a Japanese billionaire out around the moon. What's going on? I'm trying to have my breakfast.
The reason Elon Musk created SpaceX is to accelerate the advent of humanity becoming space-bearing civilization. Those are his words, and I believe he's genuine. He has devoted his life to this. And the main reason for the moon tourist Japanese billionaire Yasaku Miyazawa is funding the BFR rocket.
To do this. And because he is paying a lot of money, we're not disclosing the amount, but he is paying a lot of money that will help with the development of this ship and booster, and ultimately, this system, this BFR system, is intended to be able to carry anyone to orbit and to the moon and to Mars. And so he is ultimately helping pay for the average citizen to be able to travel to other planets. It's a great thing. Yeah.
Yes, he'll sell some tickets to the billionaires, but he'll use the money to make humanity space-bearing civilization. Come on! Also, for the trip over the moon, Yasaku Miyazawa has chosen to pay trip for 6 to 8 artists to capture this voyage, which is fair, so not only billionaires.
Saku Miyazawa, his pockets deep enough, deep as the moon is high above the earth, and that's what it's going to take really to get there.
It's being jauntily reported, but we're living in a time of massive inequality, suffering and poverty and frustration, not just, of course, in places like India, where the farming protests are destabilizing the country, or at least challenging authority about the way that the country is organized, but in countries where it was taken for granted that we had a stable way of life. The pandemic has induced poverty, doubt and uncertainty. So I suppose
Well, to be fair, SpaceX announced the fly over the moon way before the pandemic. Also, he's doing his best in making our planet greener with Tesla and Solar City. You want him to solve the poverty. I don't understand where Russell is going with this. I mean, kind of. Give him a break or call him to your podcast, Russell. I'm sure Elon would come to Russell's podcast and have a debate. I would like to see that happen.
has worked with top architects around the world to produce spectacular, inspiring images of a world connected by zero emissions, 670 mph vacuum-propelled pods, Uber imagining self-flying taxis. This is, in a sense, a continuation of the ideology that's got us into this mess in the first place, that by using the mindset of capitalism, and no doubt that capitalism has brought about excellence, entrepreneurialism and ingenuity in many areas, but in the extreme form that we're experiencing it now, it creates a lot of problems. Bringing the focus to potential space colonization, for me, seems like it's compounding the negligence and lack of awareness that we're currently suffering from, toiling under. What I feel we ought to be focusing on is how do we create a fairer, more just society here on Earth, rather than should we get a dome up on Mars that can have some poor sods from Indonesia working on it while a few people live it up drinking cocktails in a literal glass bubble.
Well, I want to see the glass domes on the Mars. I wanted this since the first time I watched Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You got a lot of nerve showing your face around here. Look who's talking.
And at the same time, I'm aware of the issues that are surrounding us.
More wonderful, extreme than going to space.
Accessibility to space tourism remains limited to the richest of the rich, with ticket prices ranging from hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions.
Also, I suppose what it shows is that we are moving from state-sponsored space travel to private space travel. Now, you can query, is one better than the other? Of course, the sort of the moon landings in the 60s and space travel by the Soviet Union defined that era, a kind of a spirit of exploration and, of course, notably competition. But perhaps this is an indicator of the fact that elites have abandoned ordinary people. It's interesting.
I don't fully agree, because I don't think that the first people to colonize Mars will be the elite. It will be people who are willing to go and are mentally and physically strong to endure such a trip. They will be explorers, like the ones sailing the oceans in search for a new land. Yes, the billionaires might do some flights to the orbit and back, but when it comes to exploration of a deep space, that is reserved for the brave ones. It's not for everyone. This is a dangerous trip.
It's dangerous, to be clear. This is dangerous. This is no, walk in the park here. When you're pushing the frontier, it's not a sure thing. We'll do everything we can to minimize that. But whenever it's the first flight of something on a new technology, and we're talking about deep space, you have to be a very brave person to do that. This is no small matter.
Look, I'm not some crazy Tesla fan, like this one, for example.
Okay. Just a quick follow-up. I've been asking to speak to you now for 2 years, to talk to you, to tell you that I'm also a super genius like yourself.
Okay.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not sure I'm one, but all right.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm just saying serious. This is.
Not sure what we're going.
I would like to come on board as vice chairman of Tesla.
Jesus. But I truly believe there are people like Elon that are different and really want to make a difference and change the world and the future for the better.
By Edward Edinger, the great Jungian scholar, writes, history and anthropology teach us that a human society cannot long survive unless its members are psychologically contained within a central living myth. Such a myth provides the individual with a reason for being. It is evident to thoughtful people that Western society, and this includes Marxism, capitalism, all Western ideas, no longer has a viable functioning myth. Indeed, all the major world cultures are approaching to a greater or lesser extent the state of mythlessness. Adam Curtis's documentary is about that. Whether you're in China, America, Russia, the UK, mythlessness. We have no overriding idea of who we are and what we're supposed to be achieving. The breakdown of a central myth is like the shattering of a vessel containing a precious essence. The fluid is spilled and drains away, soaked up by the surrounding undifferentiated matter. Meaning is lost. In its place, primitive and atavistic contents are reactivated. Differentiated values disappear and are replaced by the elemental motivations of power and pleasure. Look around your society now. Power and pleasure are the dominating forces because we have no containing myth. People are interested in what they can control, and the rest of us that don't have access to that kind of power distract ourselves through pleasure, through eating, pornography, consuming, addiction. Or else the individual is exposed to emptiness and despair. Again, addiction, illness, etc. With the loss of awareness of a transpersonal reality, God, that's one way of looking at God. You know, like the state for a while performed the function of that transpersonal reality, but that's broken down now. That doesn't function as a myth, is what's being said. The inner and outer anarchies of competing personal desires take over. So what we're experiencing in any of the great falling societies of the world is the end of a shared vision. We need a new shared myth. Where will it come from?
Well, in my opinion, it could come from space exploration. And on that note, we'll end it here. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section, and please subscribe if you like this video. See you soon.